I'm Jason, UFC, and today we have a story about UFC welterweight champion Belal Muhammad confirms plan for UFC 310 return, eyeing a UFC title defense versus Kamaru Usman or Shavkat Rakhmonov next. UFC welterweight champion Belal, remember the name, Muhammad will likely be back inside the UFC octagon in December of 2024. Okay, so let's get straight to the interview. As you can see, this is a MMA junkie interview, so I cannot play any audio and I cannot play any images because I don't want my video to be demonetized, but we will leave the link in the description. We're just going to read a transcription of what Belal says in this interview. Belal Muhammad confirms plan for UFC 310 return, opens up on who he wants next. As far as Belal, remember the name, Muhammad, first title defense goes, the welterweight expects either Kamaru Usman or Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, this is what Belal Muhammad says. Hopefully, I will fight again in 2024. I would rather fight than not fight. Okay, so it sounds like Belal is ready. Belal Muhammad stated in the interview, hopefully, if I can get onto the last card of the year in December 2024, that will be great. I think that makes a lot of sense. You never know if the UFC, don't want to put anybody on the, quote, Conor McGregor's card. We're going to have to come back to that point, but I doubt Conor McGregor's even fighting. Belal Muhammad continues, so the UFC, need somebody for that, and it will either be me or Alex Pereira who will step up. I'm ready to go. I just want to say Alex Pereira is fighting in October, so Alex Pereira is not going to step up for the December card. I'm ready to go. Belal Muhammad says, I'm not going to be Leon Edwards where I take a year off. I'm going to come back to that point. Let's just stay active. Okay, so I believe that's the entire interview. Or the entire article. I do want to preface this by saying I am a MMA casual, so I can't follow everything that goes on in this sport, but I do have a few points that I just want to make in this article. The first point I want to say is where Belal Muhammad says, I'm not going to take a year. I'm not going to be a Leon Rocky Edwards where I take a year off. I don't know what he's talking about there because Leon Edwards defeated Kamaru Usman. I believe that was 2 years ago, and then Leon Edwards defeated Kamaru Usman last year, and Leon Edwards defeated Kobe Covington last year. So Leon Edwards fought twice last year, and I think Belal Muhammad only fought once. Like, didn't Belal Muhammad fight like Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady? Like, I don't think Sean Brady fight was last year, but I know he fought Gilbert Burns, and he didn't fight the rest of 2023, I don't believe. So I don't know what Belal Muhammad is talking about when he says he's not gonna be like a champion like Leon Edwards where he takes a year off. I don't know what's going on there. And now the point of this is he says, you never know if the UFCs don't want to put anybody on Conor McGregor's card. That's interesting because he's making reference to UFC 310 where all UFC fans or MMA fans, for the most part, kind of assumed that Conor McGregor was going to be on that final card of the year. But I believe Dana White, like, literally just recently came out last week and said that Conor McGregor is not. And he said it pretty definitively that Conor McGregor is not fighting in 2024. And, we're already in August, almost September, and those cards have not been announced. The quote-unquote John Jones card in November and the quote-unquote Conor McGregor card in December. So it definitely makes some sense for Belal Muhammad to come out and say, well, if Conor McGregor's not going to be fighting on that card, you need someone to headline that card. I will be available. That's going to be interesting. I don't think Conor McGregor is going to fight this year. I'm kind of assuming that he just isn't. Like, I'm really assuming Conor McGregor's not fighting. We have to figure out what's happening with the November card. There was reports about Stipe Miocic a few days ago, but I'm not going to report that because it turned out to be basically 100% not true. So you have John Jones versus Stipe Miocic hopefully happening in November. I don't know if the UFC has announced any fights for the November New York card or the December card. You got Belal Muhammad, you got Leon Edwards, you got Shavkat Rakhmonov, Kamaru Usman. Who else is available? You have Alexander Volkanovski, Justin Gaethje, Poirier. There's a lot of fighters. Jones, Stipe, Aspinall. There's a lot of fighters who could be available for that December card. Maybe even an Israel Adesanya, right? Israel Adesanya says he's not retiring. So there's a lot of the UFC has almost all Kobe Covington, right? There's almost all the fighters. They have a lot of fighters that they could put on the November or December card. So we have to see when they make an announcement on that. And now for the main point of this article, it's just, it's a very simple answer. I can't understand how this is even a question. The question is, should Belal Muhammad defend, the UFC welterweight title for the first time versus Kamaru Usman or Shavkat Rakhmonov? The very, 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 very simple answer is Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat Rakhmonov, 18-0. None of his fights have gone to a decision. Shavkat Rakhmonov has finished every single one of his opponents. Kamaru Usman is on a 3-fight losing streak. We just saw Israel Adesanya, who lost his last fight versus Sean Strickland, on a losing streak, comes back, gets a title shot versus Dricus du Plessis. He loses, right? We saw Alexander Volkanovski. After he got head kicked, knocked out by Islam Makhachev, he goes, fights Ilya. Ilya knocks him out. He loses. We have Stipe Miocic, right? Stipe Miocic, who's on a losing streak, who hasn't fought in the UFC in 3 years. His last fight, he got knocked out in the second round versus Francis Ngannou. And he's on a losing streak. He most likely is going to lose to John Jones. So I can't find literally not even one single reason why Kamaru Usman deserves a title shot versus Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. I even saw on Twitter, Belal basically was questioning Usman's legacy, and he kind of had a good point. He was like, you fought Kobe Covington twice, you fought Jorge Masvidal twice, and you fought Leon Edwards twice, right? You're 2-0 versus Kobe Covington. You're 2-0 versus Jorge Masvidal. I think you got another victory versus Gilbert Burns, but you're 0-2 versus Leon Edwards. So, I mean, come on. Your whole legacy isn't as, as this close to GSP as some people think it is. And I thought it was kind of a good point. I thought it was kind of a good point about, Kamaru Usman's legacy and where does he stand in the division, that I think someone like a Leon Edwards, someone like a Belal Muhammad has the opportunity to even surpass Usman, because like you said, if you look at Kobe Covington, those two fights versus Kobe Covington, the two fights versus Jorge Masvidal, and then one fight versus Gilbert Burns, I think there's definitely a way for a welterweight in the near future to go on a way better streak than that. But let me know your opinion of this story, because I am a MMA casual, so what the hell do I know? I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about UFC welterweight champion Belal, remember the name, confirms plans for UFC 310 return and is eyeing a fight versus Kamaru Usman or Shavkat Rakhmonov. The fight has to be Shavkat Rakhmonov. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.